What's going on? What's going on?
All right, here we go, man. So today we got a review. One of our students sent us one of their videos, and today we're going to review it. We're going to give them our honest critiques and tell them some of the things we find that they can work on.
Yep. And our goal in this, basically, without going on about it, is just to help you get better, help you stay focused and motivated, and basically inspire you to want to learn. And like I said, overall, just get better.
Yep, and we're going to go ahead and start off by playing the video, and then we'll come back and give our honest opinion about what can be corrected in this video.
All right. Here we go.
Well, let's go ahead and start back over at the beginning, Cody.
All right.
All right, this was a great video overall. I love the creative idea. The beautiful thing I love about video production is never a right way to do things. It's all about telling the story and getting creative. And let's go back through it.
Yep.
Let's talk about this intro. Let's play the first 3 seconds.
All right.
All right, let's start right there. Let's start right there. What do you have anything you want to say about that so far?
So far, if we're just talking about the creative aspect of the intro, I would say like the beginning where we're coming into the TV and then we just come out of the TV. I don't want to say it's boring, but it doesn't necessarily tell a story because we don't really know what we're going into the TV to see. Obviously, it's a bunch of static, so we're expecting either to go into nothingness or maybe another scene that it cuts to, but then it kind of comes back to the TV and now we're going out without really seeing anything.
Yeah,
So that's kind of the first tip I would give is kind of give more of a scene, like go cut from this scene to another scene after that so you can give more of a storyline.
yeah, yeah. I agree with that. Um, Also say add a little sound effects with the TV as well. If you're gonna do the TV, give us the static sound effect and also shorten it up a little bit. Like Cody said, if we're gonna zoom into it, go ahead and bring us all the way into it,
Yep.
and then bring us into the next thing of the video, like the title or the name,
Yep.
etc. I feel like it was a little too long for the TV because it's like we sat on the TV for a little too long for us to just see static on the TV. I know this is a preset stock footage looking video. So it's not like a homemade record personal TV kind of thing. So you couldn't get a wide and a close. So I get that, but I would say shorten it up and just get straight to the point on this. And before we go any further, this format, it looks like it was a double filter or a double layered video where it has a bigger cropped in version in the back with a little gauging on top with a little blur on top. Um, I say let's get rid of that and go ahead and keep it horizontal. If you want to add some creative twist, you can add a letterbox or just keep it as is, horizontal.
Yeah, I mean, I see what JB's saying that you really don't want to have your background in your video in the background like that. It's kind of like a double layer video, and it's kind of brings the attention away from your actual video. So when he said the letterbox, that's where you'll have the black lines on the top and bottom. You could do that. It'll add some style to it. But overall, you want to kind of stay away from doing that. And I kind of see the look you were going for because I know Instagram posts are 1080 by 1080 the squares, so this was probably meant to be for an Instagram post. But
Yeah.
however, you definitely wanted to look more creative as far as eye catching and popping.
Yeah. So let's proceed in this video. let's go to the title.
All right.
Title was cool. I think the font was great. It matched the theme of the music, and the title matched the theme of the song as well. So we could proceed past that. All right, and here we go. We have a shot. Let's play this first shot. All right, so right here, you already lost this because you stepped out the frame.
Yep.
So at that point, it's like, okay, give us a different angle. Move the camera a little bit. Get closer. So if you go into that mailbox, playing with your keys in the back pocket, or footsteps, or stuff like that. Give us a lower angle walking up to it, or a very wide shot of you walking to the mailbox. We do know wide shots portrays loneliness, and it gives people an overall point of view of what's about to happen beforehand. They can see you walking to a mailbox, and then you can start going into medium shots, close-up shots of your hand opening the mailbox and getting the mail, and etc. What you think, Cody?
Yeah, I totally agree. You definitely want to get those close-up shots. That's what adds to the story, your B-roll. Like you said, the keys jingling as you're going toward the mailbox, maybe a close-up on the mailbox, and then get that good wide shot so you can tell the story so we know where you're at. This kind of started sort of on a medium shot, and on top of that, you kind of cut off not only your subject, but then you had your subject, like JB said, move out of frame and then come back into frame without moving the shot. So
yeah,
what I see is kind of like maybe it was just you doing it. You shot this and you acted in it. So it looks like maybe you were doing the work. So you kind of set the camera still, but overall you still want to get those shots.
yeah. You want to be creative, move the camera a little bit, because right now the head is cut off on the subject as well. So not
Exactly.
only did you not give yourself enough room, you didn't add other shots in between to play off the story or to play off some of the okay, I did this by myself kind of look. It kind of just kept the camera still and just moved as such.
Yep. And another thing I'll say is where I have it frozen right now, you can't really see it. It's kind of okay exposed over here, but if I skim through a little bit, it'll start
Mm.
getting bright. So as you see, it
Mm-hmm.
brightens up. So one way to stop it from popping and brightness is you want to make sure that you have an ND filter when you're outside. So
Yeah.
most cameras aren't going to have any kind of built-in ND filters, except for I know the FX6 does. Most of the time, you're going to have an external ND you're going to screw onto the lens. But
Yeah.
yeah, getting that ND filter will help you from overexposing outside and allow you to basically make sure that you're properly exposed in frame.
Yeah. And right here's another prime example. The camera and your position in frame is it's like we're almost focusing on question mark.
Yeah.
Because what you're looking at is not in the frame. All we see is your head down, kind of looking at question mark.
Yep. And one more thing I want to point out is if you see how much space we have over here on the left side, that's great. That means you just position your subject on the right side with the rule of thirds grid. However, the problem is your subject is looking away from the side that has the space. When you
Yeah.
leave this much space on a image, you want to make sure that your subject is looking towards that space. So
Yeah.
this would
As
be
well.
almost like an
Yeah.
interview. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that was great. All right, let's proceed.
All right.
So we was here for a minute, and this is where can we stop right here real quick? So before the emotion is being shown right here, because we see you about to show us some type of emotion, this is where you definitely are supposed to focus on the hands being fumbled around with the news or the paper, because it looked like you getting bad news or something in them stacks of paper. It's something you don't typically want to hear, I would assume. And you didn't show us that. You didn't show us the papers or possibly, anything you was looking at.
Yeah.
And especially on this next shot, I'm not sure if you're going to go ahead and cut and show us the facial expression. No. So we
No.
didn't even catch that at all.
No.
Basically, fully engaging and getting understanding of your feelings in this video, so someone can catch some type of emotion and stuff like that.
Yeah, and that's where the shot types help tell your story. Because what I would have did personally is, like JB said, get some B-roll of your hands moving, fumbling kind of nervously, and then you could do a hero shot, or like you could do a low angle up and make your character looking down at the camera, like like, oh my God, or he's looking up at the camera, rubbing his hands, or you could do a top down shot. Like there's many shots you could have done to portray your character having some type of bad feeling or nervous feeling. But, you know, this shot right here, as you can see, obviously you cut off your entire head. So you couldn't even see the emotion he's portraying. We could assume that he was kind of annoyed or mad or nervous, but we don't know.
Yeah. Let's keep going. See, that was great cutting to the phone.
Yep. Yeah.
That
These are
was,
the kind of shots we need.
yeah. Those are actually absolutely great. Outside of the ND filter Cody spoke about earlier, if we look past that, or even if you would have tried to touch up the color or color correct this, you could have brought down some of the highlights and stuff and brought up some of the shadows. Because this image is not blown out, but it's fixable in post. So I
Yeah.
would say good idea on finally cutting to something else here. That was a great idea.
Yeah, but as you can see, we're like 39 seconds in, and this is really, I think, what the
first
second
cut.
first cut. Yeah, first cut. Okay, yeah. So more cuts, definitely. Let's keep
More
going.
camera shot types.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. There we go. All right, let's start here. So, prime example. Those was great. Let's go back to the face. Okay, cool. So, a little higher, and back up a little bit more, and tilt higher towards the sky, because this is now a low angle. But you kind of took away from the low angle being so close to where we only see the top of your eyebrow and the logo on the shirt. It should be about close to the bottom of the chain and the top of your head, where you got some slight space in between the top of the frame where we can see your full face. Or you
Yeah.
could have just did a side profile close up or a straight up close up to get a better look of this expression, because this is the purpose of the scene, is to show, okay, you're getting some bad news and you don't understand why you're getting it. So great shot selection, but to improve it, I would say back up and tilt up more.
Yeah, like JB said, that low angle you want to tilt up. Now, two things I'll say is this actually can be an okay frame. You would obviously maybe go a little bit more where you would cut off a little less of his forehead, but if you're getting this straight on and you're having a purpose for this scene, it's not a bad framing. It's just if you're gonna get a low angle, you don't want to cut off his forehead. That's kind of the whole purpose of the low angle. But you also did great in this shot because, as we talked about earlier, you have all the spacing over here and you have your subject looking towards the spacing.
Yep, that's great.
So that's great. All right, let's continue.
And there we go. When you look down, that kind of brought it more. It made it make a little bit more sense.
Yeah, that was a good cut. So you had him look down in that scene, and as he looks down, now we're cutting back to the phone, and we know what he's looking at.
So I would say probably just get rid of the looking down. Just go ahead and show us next time you looking down. So that way you could have had your subject in the frame fully.
Yep.
And then, of course, a great shot on this one as well. Catching the details to give us a better understanding. Also, I would just say touch up your color correction in post, like playing with your highlights, your shadows, to give it more color and a better look, as I should say.
And overall, just to be more professional, if we're going for professional here, which we are, we would obviously try to find a phone that doesn't have a screen protector so that it wouldn't have these reflections. Because as you see, we could see the camera. We can see a little bit of.
Oh, sure can. That's crazy. I didn't notice that. That it got a Canon sitting there in the camera.
Yeah, I didn't want to mention the fact that it was a Canon, but I did want to point out the fact that we could see it. So
yeah.
You know, we us Sony boys over here, we don't want to talk about the C word.
But, I didn't want to mention the fact that it was. Okay, let's proceed. All
right, we're gonna proceed.
Completely. Hold on, let's go back. Completely missed it.
Yep.
Yeah, we completely missed the full emotion. Because this was the transition to realization, I believe. I believe that's what was about the approach. Yeah, we missed the emotion. Focus more on the face if you're gonna show a lot of facial stuff.
Yep.
And or just widen up a little, or you could have went back to a wide angle to show feet, full body, basically top of the head, full body, mailboxes in the background, or etc.
Yeah, that would have been a good shot too, a wide shot. I also noticed if I scroll back a little bit on the phone shot right here, let's watch it real quick. So if you've seen, you kind of moved the phone a little bit before you made the cut. So
Yeah,
you
yeah.
you
Let's
just
tighten
want
that
to
up. Yeah,
yeah, just tighten that up. You want to be careful, make sure that the phone is still the whole time like it is here, and you don't want to have it moving off screen before you go to the next scene. So just be careful on that.
yeah,
But yeah, more importantly, like JB said, you basically cut off the whole emotion here. We want to see the emotion.
yeah. Good clothing brand though. Good clothing brand. But this is a great shot.
Yep,
Oh,
I like this. Yeah, so if it would have been in focus a little quicker, it was a great shot. I
yeah, it
see
was.
what happened was it caught your hair right here. So
Yeah,
it got your hair in focus. And you know, we could discuss more in the class about how you fix that, but there's definitely ways to get around and make sure that this is in focus and your hair is not.
no, that's perfect.
Again, same thing. I mean, this is a great shot. You got the reflection of the camera, unfortunately, but we could tell it's obviously social media.
Yeah,
This looks to me like it was either shot inside or possibly maybe even in a car. This could be a steering wheel or something, maybe, but this seems to be a little bit better exposed.
yeah. I believe this was indoors in the
Yeah.
house. Yeah.
Okay.
So it was definitely better. We got a good touch of natural light in the subject.
Yep.
I always say go try to fix it up in post, darken those shadows, darken those um highlights, and fixing a little bit of the contrast to really engage the colors and darkening up some of those highlights.
Yep.
Okay.
Now here I just heard, I'm gonna replay it real quick, but I just heard where
Our
it's
first sound effects.
no, I think possibly it was the focus motor of the camera.
Oh, okay. Let's see.
Yeah. You heard that?
That sounded like it was blowing. Now, if you heard something different, you let me know.
Yeah, it was like a scratch right before the he took a deep breath and then it was like and then
Oh,
it
okay. I
then he
missed that.
went
I
out.
missed that.
So I could be wrong, but just making sure. I know some cameras do give that focus motor effect sound effect, so you got to be careful on that when it's trying to focus. But yeah, I thought I heard it. Maybe I didn't, but that's one thing. And the reason I said that is because it looked like it had pulled focus from your hand here back to your face. So
Yeah. Overall, I say one thing about this shot. Once again, a lot of your shots are a little too close. If you just back up a little bit more, you're in the right position. You just have to back it up. Back it up and tilt a little bit more. That'll help you out a lot because you always, or in this video, you're constantly cutting your head off, and that's the last thing you want to do with this high emotional video.
yep. And you hear JB say back it up more. Of course, he's talking about if you're just going to use the same lens at the same focal length. But
Yeah, exactly.
if you have a choice of lenses and you have a wide lens like a 16 or a 14 or whatever, use that.
Yeah, and also pulse again. Um, it's slightly overexposed on the face,
Yeah, it's a little bit right here.
so I would say lower that aperture a little bit or the ISO. Not really sure which one was the highest, but you can darken either one more because the grain. It don't look like you have much grain on my end. It may more so look like aperture, where you could just darken up on that end.
Yeah, and if you want to take a picture or you remember your settings or whatever, you can also send us the settings and we'll check that out and make sure it goes with each scene and what can be done better.
Yeah.
All right, let's continue.
That's perfect. The ending was cool. You got up, and social media is not the end. What it says, social media is not the end, or not? Yeah, social media is not the end.
Yep.
That was cool. Yeah, that was cool. I have nothing to say about that part. Overall, I would say more sound effects.
Yep.
Like background noises of outside nature. Just think of videos like real life. Every time you're in your room outside, you're going to hear other things around you, even if it's cars, people talking, birds, bugs, anything. You're gonna hear pin drops, everything. More of that. Properly arranging your shot types, like taking a few steps back with a tripod, especially with the focal lengths that you had. I'm sure you was probably using like a 28 or something, 24 millimeter. Pretty. It looks like that range slightly. I would say more so just back the tripod and the camera up a little bit more and tilt more. Overall, getting a better understanding of the shot types helps overall. Low angle, wide angle, medium, and having a mixture of those throughout the whole video. Because if you watch a regular movie, you'll see 50 to 100 cuts in one scene plus.
Yep. Yep.
So keep the different angles going, and I would say just stick to horizontal with videos like this. Don't try to fill it in with the extra layer behind it, because it definitely really sells when you cutting things off and when things are not arranged properly, because I see it twice. It's not that I see it once, I see it twice. And plus it just doesn't really look right. If you do it, just if you want to do it like this, just go ahead and make it pure black. That
Yeah.
way we got the video in the middle. If you want to do that for social media, but you don't really have to. I just say go ahead and do horizontal or do letterbox. That's an asset that you can get to plug in to your videos, and you might have to crop the video down a little bit, and it'll give you a wide screen aspect.
Couple things I would say is overall just invest in an ND filter for your outdoor
Yeah.
shots. That'll help with your exposure outdoor and making sure things aren't too bright. Like JB said, just make sure you check for which lens and focal length you need to use. Make sure you're not too close on your subject. You're not cutting off the head. If the main part we need to see is your facial expressions, then we should see your face. We shouldn't, necessarily have to see your body, but we should definitely be seeing your face if we're going to be seeing some facial expressions.
Yeah.
And then lastly, I would say get those B-roll shots and put them in and be intentional and make sure this one we need to get a close up. This one we can get a medium.
Yeah.
Just get your B-roll shots and put them in and make it add to the story.
Yeah. Every little thing you do that's outside of you walking and smaller stuff like holding your head up. So I would say like this, clear the air. So reach for mailboxes. Make sure you get a shot with solely with you having your arm and mailbox in the same shot. Let's say if you scroll on your phone like you did, have that shot with just the phone, holding the mail in your hand. Make sure you get a nice shot of the mail in your hand. It could be a over the head overhead look. It can be a straightforward look. Just make sure we know what you're looking at. And if you walk to the right of the frame, make sure you rearrange the camera and possibly put it back in front of you so you can place yourself back into the frame. That's perfect to do.
Yep, definitely.
So guys, that's what we're doing now. We're doing review videos to help people get a better understanding on their video and where they can work, what's the things that they can work on immediately versus just constantly experiencing through, realizing later on that maybe that video wasn't my best work, and etc. We want to go ahead and help people identify some of their pain points and some of the things they need to work on or can enhance, to have more exceptional videos and great quality work. So guys, go ahead and send in all the videos that you can. We would love to review your work. The more videos we review, the happier we'll be.
And the better you'll be.
And the better you'll be. So thank you all for watching, and Coach Craig out.
Peace.